Hi and welcome, Martina here on the Crafty Meraki YouTube channel. I'd like to focus in this video on my favorite product group of this release, and this is everything Magnolia, and especially the Effortless Artistry Paper, which is a new invention of Crafty Meraki. And I absolutely love the fact that the papers, which are pre-colored and printed on very nicely thick quality paper, match perfectly with the stamps. As you see, they just layer perfectly, as well as the dies. And what I personally love is that it is a one die cuts all die. So it's perfect for lazy crafters as I am. And I'd like to give you just a quick insight of the papers. There are 3 different ways how the Magnolias are colored. These are colored by Ludon, Erica and Brenda, which are all in the Crafty Meraki design team and just very skilled colorists. And you will see it's so easy. This video is 2 times sped up, so it's not really much faster than it has been in real time. I just grabbed my die cutting machine. I am placing the die over the paper, and as this is just one piece to line up, it's really, it works like a charm. And it also helps that they line up so nicely. And then I'm just sending the die cut through. I made sure that it's glued with some washi tape on the corners, and I already have this huge amount of perfectly colored, and you could also say perfectly stamped images or sentiments, because they are printed and cut. And you have maybe also noticed how well all the die cut pieces fell out of the die. This doesn't always happen if you are die cutting, but I have cut with this die so far, I think 5 or 6 times, and so far each and every time I just have to send the paper or the sandwich through one time, and I got this perfect cut each and every time. And I absolutely love that these white outlines, they are not too thick and not too thin, but they are just perfect. And just for to be absolutely inclusive, I will also die cut the 3rd version of the flower. And I remember when I've been filming the whole video, from saying hi to you, showing you the process, until we are here, this has been 6 minutes. So I couldn't imagine in what other way I could end up with such an amazing amount of pre-cut and pre-colored die cut pieces as I have been able with this amazing combination of product. I also love the fact that these flowers are not just the flower heads, but they have also stems and leaves and buds, which allows you to combine them and maybe create a whole bush of magnolias or a tree of magnolias or a bigger branch. And for a minute I've been thinking I could include some black and white stamped magnolias, but I decided to stay very nice and clean with the EAP papers. I have then been browsing the other Crafty Meraki papers, and I thought I could use that pink ombre from the For the Love of Flowers papers. I absolutely love these ombre papers, and I absolutely love that the papers are 6 by 8.5 inches, which is a very nice size to work with, and they are double-sided, so you have many options to choose from. As I thought it would be too easy to just use the pre-made die cuts and the printed paper and just glue them on, but that could look very nice too, even on white paper. I thought it would be a fun idea to use the round the block mini slimline background die. And I think every one of us has some background dies at home with some bigger left out spaces like these holes. So you can create a very nice playground with white space and your colored paper. And I love the idea that I have these raised areas from the foam tape I've been using to adhere the white die cut, and this allows me to just stick the branches of the magnolias through, and this will give me a very three-dimensional look of the card at the end. And I know I have done something very similar on Instagram lately, but I thought it would be fun for you to just have a close-up and a closer look, because the flowers, I'm just using liquid glue, sticking the branch through that opening between the papers and gluing everything down. It's very fast, very easy, and I still have the feeling it looks like, it looks like a very beautiful handcrafted card, and that's an amazing game changer in my world. You can also see that these die cut pieces are very nice and sturdy. And I decided to just wipe off the excess piece that I for sure didn't need. So I was able to put that little piece in the space between the two papers to make sure everything looks the same. I am then choosing my sentiment and also foam, using foam tape to adhere it. And then you can just turn the paper to the back and cut all of the excess branches off, and you end up with a very nice and clean finish. I will add some sparkly bits to it later, but I thought I could give you a second idea. You could use a white card base and glue these magnolias on, and it would look amazing. You could also do that with the critters and all the other EAPs that came with that release. But we had a small stencil release some weeks ago, and I totally love this Woven Wonder stencil. And I have covered a whole background panel for the card with a white texture paste and just set it aside to dry. And I'm using the drying time of the texture paste to add some of the new dewdrops. These are the Petunia dewdrops, which have an amazing pink color, and they are just perfectly shaped, and I absolutely adore them. And I think I have been using them on almost every project I've been doing with the new release because I just love them so much. As usual, I try to not overuse the sparkly bits, and I'm just trying to add some bling where it could help to drag the eye of the person that looks to the card just to the places where I want to have them looking. And I think I ended up with 5 dewdrops on this card, and I think that's just enough. Aren't they lovely? I truly love them. And as the background is now dried, I can start to create my second card with the magnolias. And you see, I'm trying to create something bigger with the magnolias, and I'm having a hard time because I have a very clear idea in mind and I'm trying to compose what I have in mind, and this is never a good idea. It usually works better when I'm just going with the flow, but I couldn't help myself and I just had to keep on going. And on the end, I'm happy that I was able to kind of push through and find a way to arrange them. But you see, the struggle is real, even for people that do so many cards as I do. But what really helped me to keep a clear and calm mind in this moment, because I'm not a patient crafter, I knew that I could immediately just go and die cut some more magnolias, and I wouldn't have to take everything out again or make another mess. I could just go in, die cut my papers, and I would have another bunch of die cuts. And this is an amazing thing to do. I mean, I could absolutely still, if I'm in the mood, if I have the time, I could take the stamps, color them, die cut them, of course. And that's a thing I absolutely love and I will for sure still do. But if I'm in a rush and I just need a quick card, or if I need a big bunch of cards in the same style, I think this really changed my world. And in the meantime, I think I have found my final design of the card, and I will now use my little foam adhesive pieces to glue them onto the card, because I always love that extra dimension. And you have probably seen that I am not adding too many of these foam pieces to adhere it, and that's just because the quality of the paper is amazing. They aren't too thick and they aren't too thin, but they have they seem to be very sturdy and durable, so I don't worry too much about these die cuts. And as you see, I have again these overlapping branches at the ends of the cards, but again I can just flip the card over and use the backside of my card base as an alignment for my scissors, and that's so easy done. My sentiment is also just glued to the card with foam adhesive, just to have it on the same level as I have the magnolias. I will then glue my card base or my card background onto my top fold card. I usually cut and fold them by myself, and I then just glue my card backgrounds with double-sided adhesive tape to the top fold cards, and that's it for the card part. At the end, I'm of course again adding some dewdrops, again the Petunia colored ones. I love that they come in, I mean, I have already been talking about them so much, but they also come in an incredibly big amount of sizes. I mean, usually these things have 2 or 3 different sizes, and I didn't count, but I would say it's maybe 4 or 5 different sizes. And I absolutely love that there are very teeny tiny ones. Yeah, and I had to use them on the card, and I absolutely love the end result. I really hope you liked my process and my cards. I hope you are interested in trying the Effortless Artistry Papers. And I thank you so much for staying here with me and watching my process. Have a wonderful day. See you next time. Bye.